So it's not advisable to clean the wax often, because if you do, you are losing that protective function of the wax. But when you are fond of putting in the cotton bud, what happens most times is that you push in the wax further into the ear canal, and then it starts layering up over time and it becomes impacted. A high percentage of patients come without automycosis, and when you try to ask them to know what could have predisposed them to having that infection, you know that they are regular users of cotton bud. So some people just feel that it's a routine. Oh, I've taken my bath, I washed my head to my toes, so I need to clean the ear. There are many things that could also happen apart from fungal infection, pushing in the wax further. You can also perforate the eardrum. So the eardrum is a very delicate membrane which can be perforated. It's a lot of problems, so we don't advocate use of cotton buds. So what you should do is leave the ears, and once in a year you are advised to have like a comprehensive health check. So while doing that, the doctor can check your ear, and if you have accumulated wax or impacted wax, can be referred to the ENT clinic where the wax can be removed safely. Welcome back to another episode of the LUTH Podcast, a show where we cut through the noises and have expert opinions on the realities of healthcare here in Nigeria. I am your host, Oderinde Gideon, and today is a very special episode as we are diving into ear care in commemoration of the World Hearing Day. And with me, we have Dr. Moronke Akinola. She's a consultant ENT surgeon and the examination officer of the Faculty of Otorhinolaryngology for the National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria. It's very nice to have you on board, ma. Same here. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. You look very lovely as well. Yes. Thank you. So, before we dive deeper, I would like to get to know you. Can you tell us a bit about yourself and how you entered into the field of ENT? Okay, thank you so much. It's nice to be on this program, and I must say it's a very nice initiative putting LUTH on the world center stage so people get to know what is happening here. So, as a moderator has announced, my name is Dr. Moronke Akinola, and I'm a consultant ENT surgeon with Lagos University Teaching Hospital. I hold the fellowship of both West African College of Surgeons and National Postgraduate Medical College of Nigeria in otorhinolaryngology, and also a post-fellowship diploma in audiological medicine. My areas of interest is head and neck, specifically head and neck cancers and audiology generally. Why ENT? Well, when I was in the medical school, I graduated from University of Benin, Edo State, Nigeria. And why there? I had like a passion for surgery because when we did our rotation in medicine, you just be by the bedside of the patient, and then the professors in medicine, they are like talking a lot of stuff, and you see patients are dying right there. So I wanted a part of medicine where there was action, because when you go to surgery, yes, there's a problem and it needs to be fixed. Patient is taken to theater, you fix it, and then patient is smiling. So I had my interest in surgery. But then being a woman, and you have to also think about the home front and all that, I wanted an area of surgery that would not be so difficult and maybe
something that can be combined with the feminine life. So that was why I opted for ENT. But when I started, I knew it was a mistake because my first experience when I got to University College Hospital, where I did my residency in ENT, when you get to FDM ward, that's Frank D. Matheson ward, which is the ward for ENT in University College Hospital. My oh my, you get to see a lot of swellings in the head, on the face, and I'll ask myself, is this ENT? So because in medical school you just get to spend some few weeks in ENT because it's a subspecialty, so it's not one of the major postings.
Yes.
So apparently I didn't have a broad idea of what ENT was all about. Sorry.
Okay.
So I chose ENT because of that. But we've been coping since I started, I've been coping by God's grace.
Yeah. Thank you very much. But I think for me as a medical student as well, it's a specialty that I've rotated, and it was very, very insightful for me. I'm still looking forward to, going deeper into it. So Ma, we are still talking about World Hearing Day, and to some people they are like, why the year? Like there are other parts of the body to talk about. So can you just tell us, why does this matter and why should it be taken very seriously?
Okay, thank you so much. Now, why the hair should be taken very seriously cannot be underemphasized. Now, even though the hair looks like a hidden part of the body, but when there is problem with it, that's when the individual would know that, oh, it's really very serious. Even when you imagine someone having pain, just pain in the ears, it's a lot of stress for the person that has that pain. So you get to hear patients say, oh, I never knew the hair was so important until I came down with this pain. So the hair, even though it looks like it's hidden, is very, very important. And what the World Hearing Day is all about, which is hearing, the hearing is very, very important because when there is hearing loss, is a disability that is hidden that people can actually not see directly and know that, oh, this person is not hearing well. It's a hidden disability. But despite that, it impacts a lot on the life of the patient, especially if it occurred at a very early age. So that to affect speech development, language development, cognitive development, and the eventually it could affect the social life of the person. So it's very important, and that's why the World Health thought of having a day to put a lot of emphasis on hearing loss. And so that's why the 3rd of March every year is celebrated as World Hearing Day. And it's because 3rd of March is 3-3. So that's the shape of the year. So that's why that 3rd of March was picked as the day for World Hearing Day.
Okay, thank you very much. That was actually very insightful. So one thing that you mentioned is hearing loss, and it can present in different ways. Sometimes it can be sudden, it can be short. So can you just enlighten the audience on what this is about? Like, how can it present as hearing loss? So if there's any member of their family, they begin to notice this and quickly report to the hospital.
Okay. The common symptoms that the patient could have if there is hearing loss is what we call tinnitus, which is the fact that the patient will start hearing sounds in the ears. So the sounds could be buzzing sounds, it could be humming sounds, it could be ringing sounds. So that's a very first symptom that the individual would have. And then other people around will start noticing that while watching television, the individual will ask for the volume to be increased. And the other person that is hearing clearly will be like, this volume is so loud. But the person with hearing loss will tell you, no, I can't hear. And then the person may not be able to hear doorbells. So it usually starts mostly with high-pitched sound, not be able to hear doorbells, phone ringing, or alarms when it's sounding. And then the other thing the person would notice is that it's difficult to pick conversations on the phone. The person will hear the sound but will not be able to know exactly the wordings that were said. And then also, when the person is in a noisy environment, it will be difficult for the person to hear. So those are some of the early signs that one may see to show that this person has an issue with the hearing.
Okay. So now, following up with hearing loss, it's mostly found amongst the older generation, or most people when they think about it, they just think of the older generation. However, it's beginning to show up even in the younger generation. And I'm sure that there are things that are leading to this. So can you just like tell us the reason why this has been noticed, this trend is happening now?
Okay, so hearing loss does not occur only in the elderly.
Yes.
So it spans across the ages. So maybe I should start right from when an individual is born. So there is a program called neonatal hearing screening or infant hearing screening, which obtains in developed countries. So every child that is born before leaving the hospital is actually screened for hearing loss so that appropriate measures would be taken before even the child steps out of the hospital. But that's not the case in our own country. So even though it's backed by legislation by the Health Act, but we are still not there yet. So hearing loss can affect even babies that are just born, and they are born with the hearing loss, so it's congenital.
Yes.
So once the hearing screening is not done at that stage, the child has the hearing loss, but the parents do not know. So what happens mostly in Nigeria is that is at the point of when the parent thinks that, oh, this child should be talking, the child is already 3 years of age, is not calling mom, is not calling daddy. That's when they become aware that, oh, there is a problem. But at that point, it's already getting very late because that the neonatal hearing screening is done in such a way that we follow the 1, 3, and 6 rule. Within the first month of life, the child should have been screened.
Yes.
By 3 months of age, if the child fails that first screening, another screening should have been done. And if the child still fails at the second screening, then the child should be sent for diagnostic test. And then before 6 months of age, the child should actually have had rehabilitation, either in form of hearing aids or cochlear implants. So that is like a part of the hearing problem that we have in Nigeria. So what we have in the clinic, like we run audiology clinic on Fridays here in LUTH. You see children who are 3, 4, 5 years of age that have not been able to achieve speech being brought by the parents. And that's at the point when they are screened and then you know this child can't hear. So it comes down with multiple problems. Speech would also not develop because the speech center has to have stimulation from the hearing center. They are all interlinked. So because of that, speech also does not develop. So the child is deaf and is also mute. So that's for babies. And then as they grow older, you can have hearing loss being caused by what we call acute otitis media, which is an infection in children in which they have fluid in the ear. And then some of them may go on to be having hearing discharge. It becomes chronic suppurative otitis media. So that's common for children. Now, talking about adolescents, then for children too, sorry, before I go to the adolescents, I also have the contribution from viral illnesses, mumps, measles. So there's a small proportion that comes from that. Then now when you're talking about the adolescents, now for adolescents and young adults, the major problem now is noise, hearing loss due to noise exposure. So now we have so much noise in our country from people going to events, religious centers, listening to music, blaring of horns, shouting and all that. So usually the inner ear also has a limit to the amount of sound that it can tolerate. Once you have the ear being exposed to noise from about 85 decibel, the decibel is the intensity of sound, for about 40 hours in a week, such ear is bound to come down with hearing loss. So that is the major cause now for adolescents. So you have people using AirPods, earphones, they listen to music at very loud intensity. So that's one major cause of hearing loss. And then they start having tinnitus. In fact, few years ago, there was a study that was done among the medical students in College of Medicine, University of Lagos, and about over 20%, I think it was about 400 of them, over 20% had self-reported tinnitus. Yes, those they were people, they use earphones, use AirPods and all that. So it affects the young too. So I've started from like the very early age to the adolescent before you now get to the adults.
Yes. Okay.
And then we also have a part where you, which has to do with the occupation that the person is engaged in. So we have some occupations that there's a lot of noise being produced within the working environment. When you go to the market, you have the market women using grinding machine. They don't protect their ears. You go to the motor parks, the agberos, they are shouting at the top of their voice. And then you go to the factories. So we've had so many patients, they don't protect their ears. Some of the factories may provide the hearing protection devices, but many of them don't wear it. So that's also another part that is adding to the challenge of hearing loss in our environment.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ma. So I'm taking particular interest in the use of earphones because that's something that is very common amongst the youth.
Yes.
Are we going to say that they shouldn't use earphones anymore, or they should limit the loudness? Now, how loud is too loud, and when is it okay?
Okay, so well, we cannot say they should stop using earphones or AirPods completely, because there are some areas where you will need to use them. Maybe you need to listen to some things on your phone in an open environment.
Yes.
So now what can be done is limiting the number of hours of use. Like I said, that once sound is above 85 decibel and the person exposed to it for 40 hours in a week, that can be a problem. So you need to limit the hours of use. You now also have to limit the volume at which you listen to whatever you are listening to on your device. And to be safe, you should listen less than 50% of the maximum volume or output from that device. So in that way, you could be safer. Also now, the World Health Organization has a program called Make Listening Safe, in which they are even making the makers of those AirPods to put in protective devices. So there are some that you may need to put a password when you want to go. Yes, you want to go above a particular level. And then there are some with your phones. By the time you're at a particular level, it will tell you that, you shouldn't go above this level. So those are some of the safety measures that is being put now.
Okay, thank you so much.
The use of some of those devices.
Okay, thank you so much, ma. So I am a particular fan of ear care because there was this particular day I found out that we are not supposed to clean our ears with earbuds. And it was the most shocking myth I ever heard. So can you just explain to listeners, because they need to know the truth and the reason why you have to treat your ear properly. So how is cleaning our ear like? How does it work?
Okay. Now, use of cotton buds is something that is done by almost everyone, at least until recently, when people started hearing that cotton bud usage is not so much advisable for the ears. Yes, the reason is that the ear secretes wax, what we call wax, which is the normal brownish substance that we clean from the ear using the cotton bud. So a healthy ear secretes the wax, which is usually a collection of the sebum from our skin glands, and also a mixture of antibodies. It actually has some antibodies which helps to protect the lining of the ear from invaders like fungi especially, and then keeps the ear moist and protects it from getting infected. So it's not advisable to clean the wax often, because if you do, you are losing that protective function of the wax. So usually it should be left there. By the time we chew, we talk, there is a mechanism for the wax to move outwards itself and then falls off over time. But when you are fond of putting in the cotton bud, what happens most times is that you're pushing the wax further into the ear canal, and then it starts layering up over time and it becomes impacted. So also it could make one to be prone to having fungal infection. We call it otomycosis, which is fungal infection in the ear. In fact, a high percentage of patients come with that otomycosis, and when you try to ask them to know what could have predisposed them to having that infection, you know that they are regular users of cotton buds. So some people just feel that it's a routine. Oh, I've taken my bath, I washed my head to my toes, so I need to clean the ear. If you are even going to use cotton bud at all, you should only clean the outer part of the ear, because it has all these curves and all that. So it may be difficult to get towel or anything there. So you can use the cotton bud to just clean the curved outer part, but not into that canal, because there are many things that could also happen apart from fungal infection, pushing in the wax further. It can also perforate the eardrum. So the eardrum is a very delicate membrane which can be perforated. In fact, I've had so many patients that they so much enjoy cleaning the ear that they even leave the cotton bud inside, and then they attempt to like remove their shirt or pull off their blouse, and while they make this movement, they push in the cotton bud stick further into the ear, and that will lead to perforation. Or some of them may be cleaning and then they stand behind the door and someone opens the door unexpectedly. So many issues could be attributed to it. So, and when you have a perforation, it could become a lifelong problem, because they could get infected. Person will now be having recurrent infection, or you need a surgery to go and close the hole. So it's a lot of problems. So we don't advocate use of cotton buds. So what you should do is leave the ears, and once in a year, you are advised to have like a comprehensive health check. So while doing that, the doctor can check your ear, and if you have accumulated wax or impacted wax, can be referred to the ENT clinic where the wax can be removed safely and everybody is happy.
Thank you, ma'am. So once again, I want to come from the audience point of view. This is very easy to explain to us, but it's not easy for them to accept it. So, for instance, my ears are scratching me, or my ears look dirty. People are saying my ears look dirty. So, in that case, what do I do if I'm not to use cotton buds? What am I to do?
Well, for itching, if the person is having recurrent itching of the ears, there could be a problem. So some people could have allergies. So even like when the fungal infection is already there, one of the major symptoms would be itching. So if you're having a lot of itching, it shows that you need to see your GP. If you don't have access to an ENT surgeon directly. Yes, and also, if you notice that there is wax accumulation, you also need to see the doctor. It's not advisable for you to stick in anything there and clean yourself.
Yes, ma'am. Then for the aesthetics, my ear is looking dirty. What do they do?
Okay, if they feel that their ear is dirty, that's why I said you still need to get to the ENT doctor to, if they will look at it, and if the wax is a lot, it will be removed.
Okay.
The other thing I also even didn't talk about is, the size of our body parts varies from one person to the other.
Yes.
So also the width of the ear canal also varies from one person to the other. So sometimes even the cotton bud can hardly enter that hole for some people that their ear canal is very narrow.
Yeah.
So which is a problem. So the cotton bud can even cause like micro abrasions on the ear wall, which can also get infected, can become inflamed, and then the person will have ear pain. So it's better to not just attempt to stick in anything into the ear.
Thank you very much for touching that aspect. So we know that this hearing loss is something we should look out for. But then again, Lagos is a very noisy environment. It's like the market everywhere, just as you said. So what are some preventive measures to keep our ear in the best state in Lagos?
Okay. So, well, apart from we've talked about wax and not cleaning the hair, which is also one of the ways of caring for your ear. The other one, talking about Lagos being an urban area, a mega city with a lot of noise, you need to safeguard your ears against being exposed to noise, very loud sounds. One of the major areas people get exposed are events. In fact, on Monday, I still had a patient who went for an event 3 months ago, and then immediately he left the event, he started having ringing in his ears. In fact, he told me that all his friends that they went for that party, they all had ringing in their ears after the party. Unfortunately, his own never resolved. He never resolved, and then started going from one doctor to the other. So that's one thing about exposure to loud sound. Two people could go to a nightclub, be exposed to the same amount of sound.
Yeah.
One can come out deaf and the other can come out and nothing is happening to his ears. So all these things we are saying, there are also individual peculiarities, genetic peculiarities that comes into it. So if you want to go to an event, you may need to go with what we call ear plugs to help you reduce the amount of sound that you are going to be exposed to. And then you should also choose your sitting area carefully. Don't go and sit directly in front of the speaker. So for church, religious organizations, events, in fact, there was a popular one that was showing on social media. This was an event organizer herself. What do you call them?
Event planners.
Yes, event planners. Yes. She came out deaf and she had to have a cochlear implant.
Wow.
Yes, because she lost both hearing. Earplugs to reduce sounds, the amount of noise that gets into the ear. I know Lagos State, they are doing a lot about religious organizations like the Lagos State Environmental Protection Agency, but I guess there's still so much that they could do. So the other thing too is you don't listen to music at very loud sounds. That's common within the youth and the young adults. You hear when they open their car doors, you can really hear how the music is blaring. Yes. From their cars. So need to reduce such sounds. And then if your working environment is very, very noisy, you need to wear hearing protection devices.
Noise cancellation.
Noise cancellation, ear muffs and all that. So and then when you notice that there's any problem, you should try to get to a hearing specialist. Because like the example I gave, the patient I said came 2 days ago with sounds in the ear. It happened in November and he's getting to see an ENT in March. Most of the things that could have been done at the early stage to make the tinnitus to resolve, even when you do it now, it may not really be effective because of the time lapse that has gone into it. So when you notice that there's a problem with the ear, please present. Some people will just be waiting and the sound is going to go. So it's after they've waited for a long while and it's not going down, they now feel they need to see a doctor. So I don't know if I've answered.
Yes, you have. Okay. So just here in Lagos University Teaching Hospital, we have a very capable healthcare team, and we just want you to give them a step-by-step procedure on how anyone that has like a ringing ear or tinnitus or something, any ear complaint, how do they present themselves? Do they get to the specialist?
Okay. Well, for Lagos University Teaching Hospital, for the specialist clinics, you can't access it unless you have a letter of referral that is referring you to come and see the specialist. So the first thing they will need to do is get to the general outpatient clinic, where they will see the general practitioner, and then if they feel they still need to be referred to the ENT clinic, they will give them a letter of referral and then they can come and register at the clinic. Well, we also get referral from outside, so they can also go to any other hospitals outside and get a referral to come to the ENT clinic. So, and we run clinic almost every day of the week, except on Wednesdays, which is more like an academic day in the LUTH community.
Yes.
So they can access help. So when they come, they will be registered and then they will see the ENT specialist.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Now, finally, to wrap things up, what is that one habit that if you were to explain to every single person that this is a must do, what is that one single habit that you tell everyone to take care of their ear?
They should avoid noise, being exposed to loud sounds. Yes. So it's very, very critical.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So I think we've all learned what it truly means to take care of the ear, as much as might not see how just hearing, right? But it's as vital as every other organ in the body. And we have learned from our ENT specialist surgeon on how to properly care for our ears as well. So we have a much exciting segment, ma. So our listeners can also see the fun part of you outside of medicine. So we'll just be asking a few questions just to break the ice. Are we good to go, ma? So firstly, what would you choose between rice or amala?
Rice.
Okay.
But maybe if you had asked me rice or pounded yam, I would have chosen
pounded yam. Okay.
I'm from Ondo State, so
great. I'm from Ondo State as well, so we can relate.
Nice.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so what's your favorite beverage? Do you like coffee or tea? Coffee. Okay, coffee. Then if you are having a stressful day and you just want to relax, would you relax with a movie or a book?
A movie. Not a book.
Okay.
Now I read too many books.
Now a movie. So is that Nollywood or Hollywood?
No, I don't do much of Hollywood. Okay. More of Nollywood.
Yeah.
Just watch for some time. Not that I'm really into movies like that.
Okay, then finally, are you more of a morning person or a night person?
No, I'm not a morning person.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm more of a night person. If you ask me to work 12 midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m., I'm very fine. But you ask me to get somewhere by 7, like that.
Yes, ma'am. So thank you so much. I think we have all seen that medicine is fun, and also hearing is a very important aspect of our lives. And I feel like every single one of us listening right now should make sure to take it very paramount and take your hearing parts very seriously. So with that, I've come to the end of this wonderful session on the World Hearing Day. And I am once again your host, Oderinde Gideon, and I'm living with our wonderful ENT specialist consultant, Dr. Moronke Akinola. And we hope you stay healthy and have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and make sure that this message reaches everyone around you. Thank you.